Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Before we start with our today's practice questions, we have two important announcements. The first is in reference to the weekly current affairs explain session. As part of our explain session, today's topic discussion would be with respect to legacy of Mikhail Gorbachev. Please do tune in live on our YouTube channel at 8 p.m. so that you understand everything about this topic. The second announcement is in reference to our official Telegram channel. What is that you have to do? Follow the link given in the description box or scan this QR code. This will take you to our official Telegram channel. Join the channel so that you get all the current affairs related updates. Let's get started and look into the first question. With respect to Human Development Index, which of the following statements are correct? It is released by the United Nations Development Program. The HDI measures average achievement of a country in three basic dimensions of human development: a long and healthy life, employment, and a decent standard of living. The answer to this is one only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to the Human Development Index. Let us try and understand what are these options. When we look into the first option, this is very important from the preliminary examination point of view. UPSC might ask you a question: who publishes this index or the report? So this Human Development Index is released by, yes, it is United Nations Developmental Program. So the first statement happens to be the right statement, but the second statement is where there is a minute difference. What is that? The first one is right, a long and healthy life. This happens to be one of the criteria. The third is also right as well, a decent standard of living, but the second is not right. So what are the three dimensions that we have? One happens to be a long and healthy life, second happens to be education, and third happens to be decent standard of living. So remember, it is not employment, but it happens to be education. If we have to look into the ranking, India currently is ranking at about 132 for the year 2021. And if we look at the top 5 performing countries, what we have is Switzerland, followed by Norway, followed by Iceland, Hong Kong and Australia, and the bottom 5 countries include South Sudan, Chad, Niger, CAR as well as Burgundy. And also remember, UPSC can also ask you a question comparing our country with the neighboring countries as well. Sri Lanka has a ranking of 73, China 79, Bhutan 127, Bangladesh 129. All these countries have a better ranking than India, and it is only Nepal and Pakistan which have a poor ranking in comparison to India. So the four indicators that the HDI is based upon is life expectancy at birth, expected years of schooling, mean years of schooling, as well as the GNI per capita. So remember, there are three dimensions as well as four indicators on the basis of which what we have is the HDI, which is released by the United Nations Developmental Program. What is the significance of this particular index? Whenever there is a country, the country's progress will be tested on three dimensions. When we are able to consider these three dimensions, we would be able to have a better comparison, which also gives us a better understanding about the overall development of that particular country. So the HDI acts as a tool in evaluating all the social economic status of the nations in and around the world. As part of the assignment, you have to put on the comment section how many years is this particular index released. Is it every year that it is released, or it is released every 2 years, or is it released 5 years? What is it? Is it on an annual basis, biennial basis? Please put it on the comment section. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. The Delhi Durbar was held 3 times in 1897, 1903 and 1911. The 1911 Delhi Durbar was organized to celebrate the coronation of King George V. George V was the only British monarch to attend the celebrations thrown in his favor in India. Which of the statements given above are correct? The answer to this is 2 and 3 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to King George V. Let us try and understand what are these options. When we look into the first option, the Delhi Durbar was held 3 times. This is a factually right statement, but then it is not 1897 but instead it was 1877. It is not 97, but instead it is 1877, which is why the first statement is wrong. When you look into the other two, which is 1903 and 1911, this happens to be the right. So the Durbar happened three times. One in 1877, second was in 1903, and the third was in the year 1911. Since this is wrong, the first statement is wrong. When you look into the second statement, the 1911 Delhi Durbar was organized to celebrate the coronation of King George V. This is a right statement. So second statement is right. When you look into the third statement, George V was the only British monarch to attend the celebrations thrown in his favor in India. This also happens to be the right statement. So what is this Delhi Durbar? When we speak about Delhi Durbar, these are nothing but grand events that were organized by the viceroys to mark the coronation of emperors or empresses in India. Hence, these were also known as coronation Durbar. Durbar basically means a court of a ruler in Persian, and this was adopted by the British from the Mughal Empire. The idea was to come across to the people of India as the heirs of the Mughal. If we look into 1877, 1903 and 1911, in 1876, Queen Victoria, in addition to her title of Queen of Great Britain and Ireland, assumed the title of Empress of India. The Viceroy, back then Lord Lytton, was asked to proclaim this on her behalf throughout India. He decided to hold an imperial assemblage at Delhi on 1st January 1877 for this particular purpose. So the first time it happened was in 1877. The second that happened was in Delhi Durbar in the year 1903. This Durbar marked the succession of Edward VII. On the orders of King Edward VII, it was attended by the Duke of Connaught. So remember, in 1877, all the governors, lieutenant governors, heads of the administration, ruling chiefs, princes and nobles were invited for the historic ceremony, and in 1903, many people also attended. Delhi Durbar 1911 marked the succession of King George V. This Durbar was historic for two reasons. One, it was only attended by the emperor himself, and second, this was where the shifting of the imperial capital from the Calcutta to Delhi was also announced. These are some of the important facts for your preliminary examination. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following statements are correct? Bhitarkanika National Park is designated as a Ramsar site. Bhitarkanika lies in the estuarine region of Brahmani and Baitarani rivers. Bhitarkanika is the second largest viable mangrove ecosystem of India. Bhitarkanika National Park is home to saltwater crocodiles. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to Bhitarkanika. Let us try and understand what are these options. When we look into the options, all the four given statements are right. That is Bhitarkanika National Park. Yes, it is designated as a Ramsar site. Yes, it lies in the estuarine region of Brahmani and Baitarani rivers. Yes, it happens to be the second largest viable mangrove ecosystem of India and is also home to saltwater crocodiles as well. So when we speak about Bhitarkanika, it includes Bhitarkanika Wildlife Sanctuary, Gahirmata Mehrine Sanctuary, and also Bhitarkanika National Park. And where is it? It is in the state of Odisha. This can also be important from the preliminary examination point of view. Now let's look at some of the key important facts with respect to the Bhitarkanika National Park. This is a large national park in northeast Gendrapura district of Odisha in eastern India. It is spread for about 145 km, and Bhitarkanika is the second largest mangrove ecosystem of India. It is the breeding place for the endangered saltwater crocodiles, which are the prime attractions of the sanctuary. This has various flora and fauna, and it obtained the status of Ramsar site back in the year 2002. This national park is surrounded by Bhitarkanika Wildlife Sanctuary, and it emerges out of a historical and cultural past as it was hunting ground of the royal Raj Kanika family, which is why it also has the name Bhitarkanika. It is a major point of tourist attraction in the state of Odisha. Now let's look into the next practice question. The Miyawaki method is a well-known technique to artificially breed prawns and shrimps, create dense forest, focus on marine pollution, produce crops through the natural process instead of using chemicals. What best defines about the Miyawaki method? The answer to this is to create dense forest. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Indian Express makes a reference to the Miyawaki method. So the Miyawaki method was devised by Japanese botanist Akira Miyawaki in 1980s. It is a technique to create microforests over small plots of land. Achieving this goal requires planting a wide variety of plants in a dense manner, so the plot of land was different layers of forest such as shrubs, canopies, and not just trees. So remember, this happens to do with afforestation. This is about creating dense forest in the urban areas. So this is more about planting as many trees as possible in that area so that they can create a dense forest. This unique method is used worldwide for urban afforestation by growing a forest in someone's backyard. This happens to be about the Miyawaki method. What are the requirements? The Miyawaki method afforestation requires quite a small space. One must seed plants very close to safe space and dense plant growth. This will also allow young trees to protect each other and block sunlight from hitting the forest ground, preventing parasitic plant growth. And this process must also attain plant growth 10 times faster and vegetation 30 times denser than usual. And this was given by the Japanese botanist Akira Miyawaki. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following pairs. We have reservoirs on one side, the states it is present on the other side. Ghataprabha, Telangana; Gandhi Sagar, Madhya Pradesh; Indira Sagar, Andhra Pradesh; Maithun, Chhattisgarh. How many pairs given above are not correctly matched? It is asking for not correctly matched, and as a result, the answer to this would be only 3 pairs. This happens to be a previous year question from the year 2022. Which are the 3 pairs which are wrongly matched or incorrectly matched? When you look at Ghataprabha, it is not in the state of Telangana, but instead it is in the state of Karnataka. When we look at Gandhi Sagar, yes, it is present in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Second is correctly matched. Third, when we speak about Indra Sagar, it is present in the state of Madhya Pradesh once again and not in Andhra Pradesh. And when we speak about Maithun, it is not in Chhattisgarh, but instead it is in Jharkhand. Since there are 3 pairs which are incorrectly matched, the answer to this would be C, only 3 pairs. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is Pradhan Mantri TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan. Let us try and understand what is this topic all about. When we consider India, we have large number of people who are suffering from tuberculosis. This has increased the mortality rate as well. Large number of people lose their lives as well. Government of India in the past has taken initiatives. Respective state governments have also taken initiatives, but this number is not dropping. To bring an end to it, to eliminate the tuberculosis issue, the government of India has come up with this particular issue so that they can eliminate tuberculosis by the year 2025. So what we have is the President of India who will be launching this particular program called as the Pradhan Mantri TB Mukt Abhiyan. What is the unique proposition of this particular scheme? Basically, you would have the community which will also participate in eliminating of the tuberculosis. What do you mean by it? It is the participatory approach. So when we speak about tuberculosis, as of now, we have the government of India, respective stakeholders who have the major stakeholders when it comes to elimination of the tuberculosis. But what if people also participate in it? What if people also become the stakeholders in it? What if people also want to contribute to this particular process? In all these cases, what we have is people contributing to eliminating the tuberculosis. In this particular case, there will be a list of tuberculosis patients whose names will be uploaded on one of the portal. Then what you will also have is an officer who will be looking into who are these tuberculosis patients, and at the same time people can actually go ahead and provide money on this particular platform, and this officer will give the name of the tuberculosis patient to that particular community, to that particular individual, so that over a period of time tuberculosis is eliminated. So what we have is 3 stakeholders. One is a TB patient, second happens to be the officer, and third happens to be the community or a person who's sponsoring for that TB patient. So what is that this person will have to do? This person will have to contribute on a financial terms to this particular person whose name is present on an online platform. Which is this online platform? Basically, the government of India will launch what is called as nikshay.in. In this particular place, there will be anonymous list of patients categorized according to the primary health centers, blocks, districts as well as the state. The sponsors can select the number of patients as per their capacity. So these people, the individuals, will be contributing so the tuberculosis will be eliminated from the country. So how is the contribution made? The Health Ministry, in collaboration with the ICMR's National Institute of Nutrition, has developed two options for the monthly food baskets. The vegetarian food basket for adult has detailed 3 kg cereals or millets, 1.5 kg pulses, 250-gram vegetable cooking oil, and 1 kg milk powder or 6 liters of milk or 1 kg groundnut. The non-vegetarian option will also have an additional 30 eggs. For children, the basket has to contain 2 kg cereals or millets, 1 kg pulses, 150-gram vegetable cooking oil, 750-gram milk powder or 3.5 liters of milk or 0.7 kg of groundnut. So the sponsors are asked to encourage patients to consume fresh vegetables, beans and fruits, and each nutrition basket is likely to cost about 1000 as per the official count. So basically, they will be providing the financial mechanism to the TB patients so that they are provided the required medicine as well as the nutrition. Added to it, the sponsors may also offer occasional training to the family members of the TB patient, and most of the TB patients are breadwinners, and this puts financial strain on their families. If a family member is trained in an occasion, they will be able to continue the earning. So these sponsors will also help the family members to get some of the training so that they would be able to find the jobs as well. So this is an initiative of the government of India whereby the people are also contributing to the elimination of the tuberculosis. So this will be a step towards garnering community support towards a patient-centric health system. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this topic. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.